Attention Cleveland Browns fans, don't go anywhere because what just happened promises to shake up the entire fan base. Seriously, you won't believe this. But before we reveal this bombshell, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell because we bring you the hottest and most relevant Browns news every single day. You don't want to miss it. Now take a deep breath and get comfortable, because what I'm about to tell you could completely change the direction of the franchise. We're talking about a move that's already generating a lot of buzz among fans and NFL analysts, a mix of bold strategy, family legacy, and, of course, that classic anticipation for the team's future. During the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns made an audacious and surprising move. It caught everyone off guard: fans, analysts, and even some players. The franchise decided to trade up in the draft to secure a quarterback that few expected, none other than Shedeur Sanders, son of the legend Deion Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, former quarterback of the Colorado Buffaloes, was selected only in the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft by the Cleveland Browns, a surprising pick, considering he was named the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year in 2024 and was widely projected as a first-round selection. His slide all the way to day 3 of the draft shocked analysts and fans, raising the question, why wasn't such a high-profile player with impressive stats selected earlier? The answer, according to Jason McIntyre, who was filling in for Colin Cowherd on The Herd, is directly connected to Shedeur's father and coach, Deion Sanders. McIntyre pointed out that Deion's demeanor and public statements were key factors that led NFL teams to back off from selecting the quarterback earlier. The topic gained even more traction after Deion Sanders appeared on the podcast Say What Needs to Be Said, hosted by Asante Samuel, where he specifically addressed the rumors about Shedeur's preparation for pre-draft interviews. During the conversation, Deion vehemently refuted insinuations that his son had been unprepared for meetings with NFL teams. Deion stated, "When you sit up there and say something like, 'He went into a meeting unprepared,' like, man, Shedeur Sanders? The same guy who had 6 different coordinators and still made it work and got better every time we brought someone new in? And you're going to tell me he wasn't prepared? You're going to tell me he had headphones on?" Despite Deion's intention to defend his son, his words seemed to reinforce the perception that his strong presence as both coach and father could pose a challenge for franchises considering drafting Shedeur. Jason McIntyre was blunt when commenting on the impact. "My friends, that's why Shedeur Sanders fell in the draft. I used to think it was 50% Deion, 50% Shedeur, but now I'm thinking NFL teams, front offices, were like, no thanks to Shedeur Sanders exactly because of this." It's early June, and Deion is already complaining about his son and what happened in the draft. McIntyre also highlighted that Deion's constant media presence and strong opinions could create an unwanted distraction for the Cleveland Browns, especially for head coach Kevin Stefanski, who will need to manage the pressure and inevitable media questions about the backup quarterback and the father's comments, rather than focusing on the performance of stars like Myles Garrett. According to McIntyre, Shedeur has an uphill climb in Cleveland, and I think a lot of that is exactly because of what Deion is saying on this podcast. It's not going to stop here. It will continue every time Deion steps in front of a microphone. This scenario reinforces the debate about how much Deion Sanders' charismatic and controversial figure can, directly or indirectly, influence not only his son's career, but also how NFL organizations perceive Shedeur, his potential, and his ability to fit smoothly and productively into a highly competitive and exposed professional environment. But hold on, this wasn't an impulsive pick or a blind gamble. On the contrary, it was a meticulously calculated move that's already resonating across the entire league. To understand the magnitude of this decision, it's important to remember that the Browns are a franchise with deep tradition, marked by highs and lows, but never by a lack of passion or dedication. And this offseason, the front office made it crystal clear. Reinforcing the quarterback position was an absolute priority. After all, let's be honest, that's been one of the team's biggest weaknesses for years. Deshaun Watson remains the starter, the veteran with star power, but also surrounded by doubts about his consistency and physical durability. The idea was clear: bring in depth, increase internal competition, and maybe, just maybe, find the quarterback of the future. And that's where Shedeur Sanders comes in. Coming out of the University of Colorado, Shedeur arrives as one of the top prospects of this generation. A strong arm, sharp game awareness, leadership presence, rare qualities for such a young quarterback. And the most interesting part? The Browns didn't expect him to still be available in the 5th round. According to ESPN reports, Cleveland's front office was so impressed with Sanders' potential that they started making calls as early as the 4th round, looking for an opportunity to trade up and secure him before another team did. They saw in him a rare combination of talent and potential, perfect to be developed and integrated into the team's offensive system. Now, you might be wondering, but why trade up to get a QB in the 5th round? Is that risk really worth it? For General Manager Andrew Berry and his team, the answer was simple and direct. They follow the philosophy of always selecting the best talent available. Berry even revealed that the initial idea wasn't to pick 2 quarterbacks in this draft, but when they saw Shedeur still on the board, they didn't hesitate. They couldn't let that pass. They believe that internal competition is essential, that pushing the roster to outperform itself is the path to success. And honestly, this decision made the Browns' quarterback room even more intriguing. Look at this upcoming competition. Deshaun Watson, the established starter but surrounded by question marks. Joe Flacco, the veteran with tons of experience and leadership. Dillon Gabriel, the promising young QB who's already shown flashes of quality. And now, Shedeur Sanders, carrying an entire legacy on his shoulders. Every practice rep, every preseason snap will be crucial. The competition promises to be intense and, without a doubt, exciting to follow. But the story doesn't stop there. What's most fascinating is that Shedeur isn't coming in just as a developmental prospect or simple backup. He's coming to compete for real, to challenge the starters and, who knows, take over the leadership of Cleveland's offense in the not-so-distant future. It's a bold strategy, of course, but one that could pay off big time if Sanders lives up to expectations. A move that, without exaggeration, could define the franchise's direction for the next several years. And, of course, you can't talk about Shedeur without mentioning his father, Deion Sanders, a true sports icon and one of the biggest inspirations in his son's career. Deion, who has always publicly praised Shedeur's talent and work ethic, expected to see him picked in the early rounds of the draft. To the surprise of many, he ended up sliding to the 5th round. But the Cleveland Browns were quick, precise, and strategic. They seized the opportunity. And you know what's even more interesting? Despite having made some jokes about Cleveland in the past, Deion showed immense respect and gratitude for his son's selection. He personally called Andrew Berry to thank him and show his full support, a gesture that demonstrates not only confidence in his son's talent, but also mutual respect for the organization. And there's more. That direct contact was facilitated by a curious detail. Deion Sanders played alongside Bill Musgrave, the Browns' current quarterback's coach, way back in 1994 when they were both with the San Francisco 49ers. That personal connection adds an even more special touch to this whole story. It's not just a draft pick. It's a narrative that involves relationships, trust, and legacy. So, what can we expect now? Well, the Browns' preseason just gained an extra ingredient, turning it into a must-watch spectacle. Shedeur will have the chance to prove himself from day one, whether to challenge Deshaun Watson or to be carefully groomed as the team's future leader. The answers will come over the next few months. One thing's for sure, my friends. Shedeur Sanders' arrival has completely changed the landscape in Cleveland. It's not every day that a 5th-round rookie generates this much excitement, but his name, his story, and his potential justify all the buzz.